Hello there, sweet friends. I am here today finally to get started with my brand new junk journal that I will be creating for this year's summer vacation for 2019. I recorded something way before with my actual camcorder rather than with my phone, which is what I'm using right now. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to recover that video so I can show you something that I did in this book here. So when I open this book, you'll see that I've already taken it apart, and I'm hoping that I will have that little chunk of that video from my old laptop where I show you how it looked like before and what I did to get the pages off. Guess what? I found my little old recording from when I first started working on this book a year ago. So I only added a couple more minutes to this video. So that's not bad. So you can very quickly see here how I took the pages and what the pages look like. It's kind of bound like an old style book where the actual spine of the book is not attached to the very back. So it's very easy to remove the pages. I'm sure you've seen, if you are a junk journaler who makes junk journals like me, I'm sure you've seen this technique done before when people use old books to make junk journals. So this, luckily, and this is one of the other reasons why I did get this album, because I knew once I saw that the spine was the way it was that I would be able to remove those pages. So I zoomed in here so you can see, you very carefully just run your X-Acto knife on the spine, trying not to do too much damage. And all you're doing is detaching all the pages which are attached together. And so leaving that spine empty. And that's it. That's pretty much the only preparation I did for this book. Very carefully cleaned it up afterwards and removed any excess of whatever that little tape thing that it's holding the pages together. And that's it. So I'm so happy that I was able to recover this little video and show you, because I felt incomplete. But now this video feels very much complete. So once I get to the end of this little section here, I'll just jump right in as if how I recorded this video before I added this other little section. So I'm so happy that you got to see it. So now there shouldn't be any questions about how to remove the pages. So just wait one more second and I'll jump right back in. A little bit of a backstory on this gorgeous album. It is actually a photo album. If I have that video, you'll see that the pages inside were kind of like the old style, that where you just, they were plastic sheets where you just added your photos. So I found this gorgeous thing at what we call here in California swap meets. I'm not sure if they're called something else in other states, but somebody was selling it. It was just sitting there, and I saw the color attracted me to it, and it's absolutely gorgeous, stunning. I don't even know who makes it. Oh, I do. PUNC, I think. TUATE. Punctuate. So I don't know if that's the name of the company or the name of the album, but so I found it at the swap meet for $2. I could not believe it, and I knew that I was going to take it apart and turn it into something. And I started this like last year, and it finally, just as we started planning our vacation this year, I knew exactly that this is what this book was going to be used for. And I'm basically going to be turning this into a junk journal. So that's kind of the background of where this book came, because maybe some of you might want to know where I got it, so you might be able to find one. But I have seen the exact same style, just the cover itself is different. I've seen them in Tuesday Morning, and I've also seen them in Joann's. The ones at Joann's, they had a little window here where you can, on the back, add a photo. So that's some of the ones that I've seen, like I said, on Tuesday morning, and also at Joann's. So if you're looking for one and you want to make something similar to this, there are some of them out there, except that, you know, the cover is going to be a little different. For every vacation, I usually do a junk journal. So I have one for Catalina, which I should show you too. Just again to give you a little history and kind of an idea where I'm headed. So this was my very first junk journal. Absolutely love it. Chunky as can be. I don't even add it. I made this cover, this leather cover myself. It just kind of protects it. And so I just kind of wrap it around and leave it as a sleeve. So this junk journal here was when we went to Catalina back in 2017, which is funny because both of these trips were in 2017. And you can see how chunky these guys are. There is a flip through video of this one right here. It was one of my first ones, so the video itself might not be as good. But the book is still very gorgeous. When I made it, I had just started, you know, doing a little bit better on my posting and my photography. And so now things have gotten, you know, a little bit better. So here is one chunky one, and here is the other one that I just finished it. It took me it took me a year and a half to do this guy, and I will be filming a flip through of this one. I feel like I'm going to be taking a lot from these techniques to create this year's junk journal. So, but what I wanted to show you is, see how chunky this guy got. And although this book has a big spine, if I was to add something that's this chunky in here, you can see that the book will, the edges will open up, and I don't want that. I mean, I know it's gonna get chunky, but I think that I kind of want to see if I can restrain it from maybe, you know, only opening this much. I think for one of these is okay because this is an actual, like I said, a T-end, right? So you can have a cover for it and you can just hold it like that. I do have a piece of leather that I bought, and I'm going to make one just like this to cover this guy so that it's, you know, it kind of has a home and it's going to be protected. So because I saw how chunky these guys got, I counted how many pages I had done in here, and I ended up, this is the center right here of the book. So because I use full sheets and then you fold them in half, the full sheets like this, there's 18 of them. But when you fold them in half, now you have 18 here and 18 here. So that's 36. But if you count front and back, that's double. So instead of 36, now I have 72, right? So I have 72 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so on. So 36 pages, right? Because I have 18 here and 18 here folded in half, there's 36. I knew that if I made 36 for this one, the book is going to get just as chunky. So I have decided to kind of reduce it a little bit, which is probably not going to be that much, but I'm going to reduce it to 14. So instead of 18 flat sheets, I'm going to have 14. Now the other thing I'm going to do, and I feel like this will help with the chunkiness, if I just have, maybe, I don't know, if I just have one book with all these pages versus if I would have made one book that held this many and one book that held this many, I would have 2 smaller books. And yes, I know, combine both of the books, I still will end up with that. But because I am reducing the pages on this guy, I'm only gonna use 14 sheets. But I'm also gonna separate those 14 sheets and have 7 and 7. And each one of those 7 sheets is going to get turned into one smaller junk journal. So instead of having one big one, I'm going to have 2 smaller ones. A 7-page and well, I say 7 pages, but you'll see what I mean. 7 pages that are open. So when I close them, that means that it's going to be 14 sheets, right? So 14 here and 14 here, which is the same thing if I would have laid down, 14 sheets down like this and then stitched them together. Once I fold them in half, then I will still end up with 28. I hope all of this is making sense. But because this is going to be a series of videos, because it would be a way gigantic video if I did it all in one shot. So I'm going to kind of break it down into one junk journal, second junk journal, how to put it together, how to decorate the pages. This time I don't have to worry about the cover because the cover is already decorated. So that would have been a different video. Like you can see, this was very simple. This one here, I got a little bit, this was my first one. It's still kind of simple, but I got, crazy and creative with some of the painting that I did, a little bit of mixed media, and then just a card, of course, adding the date. So for this year's, which let's just call it Hawaii, because that's what this is going to be. This is going to be our Hawaii vacation for 2019. The 2 that I have, they have the name of the location. So this was my Yellowstone and the other one was my Catalina. So from now on, if I, talk about it, this is going to be my Hawaii junk journal. So let me show you really quick what I have selected for the theme, because I feel like that's important. Getting back to these guys, Yellowstone is obviously very nature, animals in the sense of not forest, but I don't know, nature, countryside type of animals. So I kind of selected some papers that I felt that kind of would mimic a little bit, the browns and the greens, some of like oranges, a little bit of turquoise. So see, look, I'm giving you a little flip through already. So I kind of selected certain colors, not super critical, because you can see this is pink and you're like, oh my gosh, pink. But hey, that's the beauty of junk journals, that I can add anything I want and it still looks amazing. Some of the pages I had chosen to use grid or graph paper for journaling like this. I'm going to decide if I'm going to do that on the Hawaii one. There's some vellum pages. The shapes of the sheets themselves sometimes change. This is obviously a very weird size and shape. The same with this one here. The same with this. That's just a big scallop circle. And if you follow the pages, there should be another half scallop circle on the other side. So here's one, here's the other one. I just layer them on top of each other, so everything matches. So there's that one, there's the scallop, there's this one, there's the other one here, and so on and so on. So for the Catalina one, I had chosen because it was ocean theme and not tropical but still ocean. I selected this paper pattern. This one came from Hobby Lobby, and I chose all the paper from that collection, and that's what I used to create this one. For the Yellowstone one, I was a little bit more free with it and just grab from paper that I already had. And you can go either way if you ever want to make one of these for yourselves, for your trips. I think that if you're going on an epic trip where you need to document, you're going to have thousands possibly of photos, you need to have something. Now, I think this is more manageable, like versus if I wanted to do an entire 12 by 12 pocket page album. This one, you know, yeah, you can put one photo per page, but there are ways where you can add tons more photos if you want. And oh, look at that. I have found ways on how to do that. So here's one example. I made a little flip book using journaling cards, and look, it's only one page, but there's one, two, two. Oh my gosh, I thought I had more. I thought I had more photos than that. I could have added more. I could have had one here, I could have had one here, and I could have had one there. So, but here is one way that I did that. And again, I'm showing you a book that I shouldn't because there's already a flip through to this. But there's tons more photos in here that I didn't get to add to the book. And so, you know, I keep them here. So if I don't feel bad, because even though they're not necessarily in the book in a page, they're still in here. They're still within the book itself, and I can just pull them out and look through them. So I think this is awesome. These types of junk journals, they're very manageable. I normally make them ahead of time. And normally I would take it with me. So I did take this guy with me on our Yellowstone trip so that I could work on it whenever I had time. You know, you always, at the end of the day, you're tired or whatever, but you want to work on something. I could start working on certain types of things. The same thing with this guy. I did take it with me, and I was able to do a little bit of work while we were, you know, during the trip itself. Okay, let's get back to this guy. I hope that you found at least some of that information kind of useful for future references. Again, you can, if you want to see one of them, the Catalina one, there is a flip through to that junk journal. I will be working on the Yellowstone pretty soon, but I am just so excited about this guy that I had to kind of get it started. So one thing that's different from this book here is the fact that it's already determined what size my junk journal is going to be. For those other ones, I knew that obviously my only choice of size paper is a 12 by 12, which meant that if I folded them in half, the pages will roughly be about 6 inches wide. Now that changes because when you are layering pages on top of other pages and then folding them in half, the edges never lined up. So you have to do a little trimming. Now it's up to you. I guess you don't have to if you don't mind that some pages might be just a tiny little bit longer than others. So I'm gonna think twice about that for this junk journal. I don't think I'm going to mind that some of the pages are going to be a little longer than the others, because I think that in the end, when the book grows, you know, gets chunkier, the size changes anyways, and you're adding stuff to the ends and the edges. And so I think I'm gonna save me the headache, and I am not gonna trim the edges of this junk journal. But so because I already know that I have to make a junk journal that's going to fit in here. So I had to measure. Obviously, it's not odd, but you know, when you're making a book yourself, an insert, you know, this is kind of different because of the fact that, again, it's not going to accommodate a 12 by 12 sheet folded in half because it's gonna be too small. Again, if you see this, if I was to put this guy in here, right, you can see there's a lot of space here, and obviously I need to make the new insert for this book a lot wider. So that is the one thing that I've thought, and I hope that you like the way that I'm going to be able to use a 12 by 12 sheet of paper and manipulate it so that it turns out to be a much bigger book, a much wider book. The length, again, that's about the same, which is 8.5, I believe. So I measured from here, not from the edge, but when the book is closed, if I measure from here, that kind of gives me a false measurement. So you have to measure from the back of the spine because that's where the back of your insert is going to be laying against. So if I measure that from here, this book is about, I'm gonna look at it, it's about 9 inches. So if I go to the center of that, so I'll show it to you. I don't know why it's not. So if I go like this and I push it up against the back and I look at it, it's 9.5. Well, no, it's about 9 inches. It's about 9 inches. So I guess it's, yeah, I guess you can measure from here as well because when you close it, it brings the spine in closer. So it's 9 inches by 8 and no, it's 9. I'm looking over here. It's, if I look over here all the way to the edge, that's 9 inches. So it's a 9 by 9. Obviously I cannot make the insert 9 by 9. It has to be a little shorter this way and a little shorter this way, so there's a frame or a margin all the way around. So with that in mind, oh, before I move on to that, I want to use this paper. These 2 sheets over here is what I have decided to do, to use in here to cover this. This book had a little pocket in here and I took it off. Obviously it's ugly. So I'm going to be using this stripe paper. This one is by Webster's Pages. I have a lot of this paper, so in case I make a mistake or I need extra pieces, I have plenty of extra of this book. Because it's a 9 by 9, I need 2 12 by 12. So I'm gonna, this is what's going to be on the inside of the book. So that's what these 2 are. Now because Hawaii is a beachy, I don't know if we call it tropical, it's kind of foresty, but no, jungly I should say. Anyways, I've chosen my paper. And this time again, I have decided to stick with a collection. And a beautiful collection it is. So I've decided to use the Maggie Holmes Sunny Days collection by Crate Paper. And the reason why is because if you can, well, here's, I'm kind of, whatever, I mean, it's okay. But this kit or this paper pad, a lot of the paper, it's solid, which is okay because obviously the same shades of this are going to match the pattern paper, but sometimes it's easier to, you know, to find just plain cardstock that I can use. And the rest looks like this. Now I'm not using all of these papers because this specific floral, I don't think it goes. This is glitter. You can't see it, but it's glitter. There's another gold glitter, and that's more gold, like foil. Then, but this is cool. It came with a sheet of sticker letters, alpha stickers. I can just peel those off. And then this first one here, also, it's a sticker sheet, which, yeah, of course, I'll take it. I definitely will use these. You look, a bathing suit, a camera, ice cream cone, a plane, the umbrella, the bike, you know, some seashells. So this is why I felt that this collection will work for a beachy, you know, theme for my books. Now, again, because I have decided to use or to make 2 smaller books, I've already chosen my pages and I'm going to show them to you really quick. Now, some are double-sided and some are not, and I will cross that bridge when I get to it and decide if I am going to leave a white, if this one has a white background, if I'm going to leave it like that or if I'm going to cover it. So, but look at how pretty this collection is. I went to Joann's and they had loose, you can tell this one doesn't have the little hole. The ones that I pulled out of this paper pad, obviously they have this. So that's how you can tell which of those sheets came from this paper pack and which ones I bought loose from Joann's. So this is one, this is the back. 2. So the ones from the paper pad are white on the background. The ones that I bought loose at Joann's, they're double-sided. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, not all of them are 100% from that paper collection. I gather a few other ones that I felt that kind of went with the theme, but they're still by the same company, Crepe Paper, also by Maggie Holmes, but they're not from the Sunny Days collection. It might be from the Gather collection or the Flourish collection. So this one is actually from the paper pattern. I think I was at 6 or 5, 7, 8, gorgeous, gorgeous, 9, 10, this is one of my favorites too, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So these are the 14 sheets that are going to get divided into 7 and 7 to make 2 different inserts. Now, I have extra paper, and this is the extra paper, and believe me, I'm going to need it when I show you how I'm going to end up making the pages a lot bigger. You will understand why I'm going to need extra sheets. So this one, it doesn't look beachy to me, so I don't know, something's gonna happen to that, but this, love it, love it, love it, love it. So, and then there's some repeats because one of these sheets I'm gonna use in the book, but this one I'm probably gonna cut it apart. You know, I mean, I'm probably gonna cut all of these little embellishments, fussy cut them, and add them as part of my embellishing. So again, because this sheet is in the other pile, it definitely needs to be added here. And I have duplicates because I love that one so much. I ended up getting extra ones. This one, this guy will probably also get cut apart. Love the back, but look at this. I mean, I can cut all of these tags apart and use them as part of my embellishments. Same with that one. Same with this one. I have this sheet over there, but this one will probably get cut apart. Maybe not the whole thing, but parts of it. I don't know about this one. I'm thinking this side, I don't know about that one. Again, a duplicate, and then more duplicates, and you, again, will see why. So this video, I obviously just did all of the talking ahead of time because I had to explain. From here on, some of the videos are going to be me just actually working on the book and doing a voiceover. That's what I want to say, a voiceover. So I'm trying to keep this one kind of short, not too super long. Okay, so this is the method that I have decided to use to expand the pages on my book, and this is the awesome part about it, that I was able to figure out a way where, how do I make my pages larger when the maximum size is 12 by 12. So it's just a coincidence that this color matches this. I bought a whole pack of this for like dozens of years ago. From a long time ago. A long time ago, I bought a pack of this. You know, I knew I would never use them on my scrapbooking because it's just too bright, and I have 2 boys. I don't have girls. And so I kept it for stuff like this. So for templates and for me to test things out. So here is my test. So if you can see, this will be my book. And let me show it to you inside. And there are my pages with a margin all the way around. Wow, these 2 colors together, my eyes, it's kind of neon. It's kind of a weird, like it's like shocking. So as you can see, my book, the pages are bigger and it fits. You see that, hopefully. I can't see my phone where I'm at, what I'm aiming. So you can see that when the book gets put together, my pages will fit like this. This is the size they will be. compared to the other ones, which were 6 inches less because I had to do some trimming. These ones are roughly 8 inches wide by 8 inches tall. So they're 8 by 8. And how I did it is obviously I measured this whole thing, and then I knew that I grabbed a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and I knew that one side had to be 8 inches. So if I measure this here, that is 12 inches across. So I knew that one side had to be 8 inches wide. So I made a crease right here down the middle where it measured 8. That left me with 4 inches on this side. So one measures 8, one side measures 12. So my idea is to layer on. Here's one sheet. Here's the exact same, but I obviously, I flipped it over, and now I put the creases together. Here's another one, alternating direction, which that means I'm going to have to be careful how I cut those papers because obviously some patterns have to go up and down or left to right, so I can't just cut. I'll have to be very careful and pay attention of the direction of the pattern on those papers so that when I, what's the word again? Alternate the sheets, they will face the right way. So here is another one. And as you can see, the short side is on the right. Now my short side is on the left. So when I fold everything in half, let's pretend this is a book. Let's pretend this is one of my inserts. This is roughly how the inserts are going to look once they're stitched together. So you're gonna open, and here is my first page. And then this one was going to be a little page, right? But because I'm going to have extra pieces of paper, I'm going to add another piece here so that this sheet becomes also 8 inches this way. So if this is 4, I would end up adding another 4-inch or 4.5-inch, so they overlap. And then that page will become 8 inches wide. Now, my choices will be, do I want the pages to match? Do I want to add a different color paper? So that's gonna be fun for me to figure out what is it gonna be that's gonna go here. Now, the other thing is I am going to leave some of these on this side, on this size. I'm not gonna add anything. So some I will add so that when you flip them, they're gonna be 8 inches wide, and some I'm going to leave alone as 4 inches wide. I might change the shape, or I might add why can't I think of it? You know, the thing that flips, a tip-in. I'm gonna add a tip-in, right? So it's, if once you unfold it, it will also become 8 inches wide. I might just leave it like that. I might add a strip here and a strip here. All of that is going to be fun, and I'm just gonna decide that once I'm putting the book together. So, first page, second page, third page, short page here, right? Long page. So this would be the center of the book. Then start again on the other side. Long page, short page, long page, short page. So on one side, I'm gonna have a full sheet. On the very end is going to be a short one. So that is how I am going to be able to go around the fact that the size of this album is different, you know, or larger than what would accommodate a junk journal made from a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to make me think outside the box when it comes to figuring out what am I going to do with this little stubby little pages here. But if you remember some of the other journals I showed you, I purposely added short little sheets in between the big ones because that's what adds the fun part of junk journals. So that is it. I don't want to make this extra long and bore you, but imagine these sheets of beautiful paper folded the way I just showed you. And the next video I will start putting the pages together, folding them, stitching it, and then another video I will be embellishing some of those sheets. So I hope you found this interesting so that you can stay and go back and go look at the other videos if you want to see the end results of this year's summer vacation junk journal. I have a month before we go, so I gotta get going. So thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. See you in a bit.